Okay, it is 6:30. I move to open the Town of Marshfield Conservation Commission meeting of December 17th, 2025. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. As always, we are in a hybrid meeting. In the event of technical failure here, each person in this room, and the tape can be accessed on Marshfield Community Television after the fact. Our first order of business are the meetings of 11/19/2025. Did you have any edits or changes?
I did not receive any edits or changes from the
Okay,
commission.
does anybody want to add anything now? Okay. I move that we accept the minutes of November 19th, 2025 as written. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, our first hearing is 1339 Ferry Street. This is an amended order of conditions. I will read the legal notice. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, December 17th, 2025, to consider the request for amended order of conditions for 1339 Ferry Street. And the hearing officer is Commissioner Miles.
Thank you. Okay, 1339 Ferry Street. Anybody here on Zoom to present the
Yes,
project?
Paul Seberg from Grady Consulting.
Okay, Paul, you can go ahead.
Hi, everyone. We're here tonight to request to amend the order of conditions for 1339 Ferry Street to include the raise and rebuild of the existing single-family dwelling. The order of conditions was issued for the septic repair project back on October 6, 2025. The applicant is now proposing to raise the existing single-family dwelling and construct a new single-family dwelling with a concrete driveway. There's a walkway to the right side of the house and also a patio in the rear of the property. The proposed dwelling is approximately in the same footprint as the existing house, but roughly 2 to 3 feet further back from the coastal beach and South River resource areas, which are located opposite of Ferry Street. The project proposes a small increase in impervious area from 1,814 square feet to 2,023 square feet, an increase of 209 square feet. There are no proposed changes to the septic system. It will remain in the same approved location. And a silt sock erosion control barrier is proposed between the resource area and the proposed work. Be happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
All right, thank you. Did you mention the flood zone?
The flood zone is not actually on the property itself. It's located right along the front property line. The property itself is located in the Zone X,
Okay.
and there's a Zone AE elevation 10, which falls roughly around the front property line. Sorry, AE elevation 11.
Okay, out of the flood. So one thing, I did read through the notice of intent, and one thing that was checked out, was maybe in error, was section C on page 7, number 5. Is any project, any portion of the project within an area designated as outstanding resource water? I went on to Mass Mapper just to double check that, and it looks like it's in, so maybe you can just check the box from no to yes on that one?
Yeah, we can do that. I'll have to confirm if that's actually the case.
Okay.
I didn't see that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then also on Mass Mapper, it has this whole area designated as coastal bank as well.
Well, the project itself is not within any of the resource areas itself.
Okay. Did you check Coastal Bank too?
No, because it's not within, we're not doing any work in the coastal bank.
No, the whole project area is within Coastal Bank.
I don't believe that's correct, I'm sorry.
Okay. we can
The
just-
coastal bank would follow the mean high water line or the South River. This project is not in a coastal bank. The site itself is not in a coastal bank.
Okay, can we just double check that? Real quick. Mike, I don't know if you can pull it up on the screen.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out a way to do that.
I can't get off of the splash screen on my phone. Like, won't open.
So I can share my screen of our wetland summary report. I don't know if you have this already. But our wetland scientist, John Zimmer, delineated the resource areas here. The entire property is located within the 200-foot riverfront area associated with the South River. The eastern edge of the property is located within the land subject to coastal storm flowage, 100-year floodplain, AE zone, elevation 11.
And then what do the wetland flags,
It was that coastal beach resource area.
okay. Are you able to pull up Mass Mapper?
I can pull up via Mass Mapper. Let me give that one a try.
I can't pull it up on my phone for some reason.
Let's see. Or do you know if the coastal bank would be under coastal and marine features under the layer?
No, just search for DEP wetlands in the search box, DEP wetland outline.
Okay.
Can you get it on your phone?
Well, I think I have it. Let me,
Okay, I think I have it up here.
Oh, okay. Thanks,
See
Mike.
if I can't get it on this other television while we're referencing it. Yes.
Yeah, it's not coming up. I don't know what the problem is.
Okay, so 1439 Ferry Street. Mass Mapper calls that whole area coastal bank. And not, that coastal bank is different than river bank?
Right, but coastal bank's defined by the change in topography, the change in slope over the site. Typically, we could prepare a delineation of the coastal bank if the commission would like, but I don't believe this map to be accurately defining the coastal bank.
Okay,
In
I
this
think
location.
this, it looks like the slope goes up at the rear of the property.
Yes.
Right, it has to do with the, if the slope changes to a slope greater than 10 to 1. There's certain criteria, there's, I believe, 4 different figures on coastal bank, or maybe more than that. I don't believe it would ever get higher than the FEMA flood zone in this case.
Okay, if you could,
But we could provide more information if the commission would like.
yeah, if you could put that line on there, just so we know what's, what
I'm not sure it would
resource
change the project. The whole site's developed as a single-family residential dwelling right now.
I get it, but
We're working it,
I'm
yeah.
just trying to get everything on the plan that needs to be on it. And Mike, can you just check the box that, on there that says outstanding resource water?
Yes, I can do that.
Oh, no, I meant on Mass Mapper.
Yes.
I think if you just search for it in the search box, it'll come up. Or you can do the polygon, I think.
So yeah, it does look like it's within the boundaries of outstanding resource water.
Yeah, if you just click on the polygon instead of outline, it'll show you like the whole area. When you do the search. Just remove the word outline.
It won't let me. There we
Okay.
go. Yeah, so the site is covered by that.
Yeah, the entire
restriction.
South River along Ferry Street is outstanding resource water. So.
Okay, we can definitely make those corrections you requested.
Okay. And since it's
Not a problem.
it's in a couple of resource areas, we want to try to minimize the amount of impervious coverage, so I'd like to see the concrete patio with pervious pavement or pervious pavers. Can you do that?
Yeah, I don't see an issue with that. Yeah.
Okay. And also, I wasn't sure if, it says proposed garage slab. I didn't know if you're adding a garage too? Or is
So
it-
the garage is underneath the house itself. It's within the footprint of the house.
Okay. Got you. Is the, okay, Okay. All right, so if you can make those corrections and put the coastal bank on the plan, and recalculate the impervious coverage by changing the concrete patio to pervious pavers. I don't know, I'd like to poll the commission just to kind of see what your thoughts are.
My suggestion was going to be that all of the concrete be pervious.
Okay.
We have a driveway, a walk, and the patio. And my recommendation would be all pervious.
I think I agree with that, but I wanted to ask about the driveway going over the leaching field. If, what effect?
I think we'd prefer to have the driveway itself to remain impervious surface, if the commission would agree to that. We're only increasing the impervious coverage from the existing conditions from 200 by 209 square feet. If we change the other areas to pervious, it'd pretty much be consistent with what's there now.
Can you explain that the driveway going over the leaching field and the slope? You know, because you've got that retaining wall there now, how's it gonna cut down through that?
So the retaining wall is going to be gone. The retaining wall will be removed. The existing roadway is at approximately 10.5. The garage slab's at 12, so it's a 1.5 foot elevation change to get into the garage. The proposed leaching field is going to be top of the field to approximately elevation, I believe, 10. With a foot of cover, it'll be elevation 11 over the system with the driveway there.
Okay.
So you had this septic system approved before. Have you gone back to the Board of Health with the changes?
I don't believe we need to go back to the Board of Health with any changes for this point, since it's already been approved, and we're not changing any setbacks to the structure itself. The setbacks themselves are actually, I think, slightly improving to the system.
But are you referring to the driveway being placed over the leaching field?
Yeah, that was my concern.
Not necessarily the setbacks.
The leaching system's a crushed stone trench. It's designed to have for H20 loading and to have vehicle traffic over it.
Okay. Liz, did you have any thoughts on this? No?
So if that's the case, could the driveway be pervious?
I'd have to ask the client if he'd be agreeable to do a pervious driveway. I can't really make that call myself. I know his preference would be to have a paved driveway.
Okay, so do you think we should continue until we get answers on that?
Yeah, I think we need to resolve or make sure that coastal bank delineation is make sure we don't have, a problem with that delineation. Yeah, as to the driveway being pervious or impervious, it's over a gravel leaching field. I would definitely like to see the walkway pervious along the side of the house. And I think it would be worth asking your client if they would agree to a pervious driveway, and if that would from an engineering standpoint, be acceptable over a leach field.
Yeah, we'd be happy to do that, that's okay. We can continue to provide that additional information and verify that for you.
Okay. All right, then. I'm gonna make a motion to continue the hearing until we have confirmation on the coastal bank delineation and a corrected WPA Form 3, Section C5, and a pervious paver patio and walkway. Can I have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
And then, Mike, what's the next meeting we can,
The next meeting would be January 7th.
okay. All right, thank you, Paul. I guess
Thank you.
we'll come back on January 7th.
Sounds good. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, good night. Okay. Next up is 50 Johnson Terrace. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, December 17th, 2025, to consider the notice of intent filed for 50 Johnson Terrace. And the hearing officer is Commissioner Miles.
What about the other two?
Oh, I'm sorry, they're both continued.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, 50 Johnson Terrace. Let me go back. Hi, Rick. Do you want to go ahead and get started on 50 Johnson Terrace?
Yes, so Rick Savant with Senbeck and Taylor. This is Paul Buckley, the applicant and the homeowner here. We live down here at the end of Johnson Terrace. We've got some resource areas that we're dealing with. We've got a creek or a ditch, kind of a dug ditch that runs across some of that marshland was done years ago, but qualifies as a river based on what I've researched. So we've got a riparian zone associated with that. We certainly have a BVW along the edge of that, which was flagged by Pine Brook. Buffer zones are shown on the lot. We're also in an AE9 flood zone. Got an existing single-family home that's there that was built in around 1950 or 53, that the homeowner would like to do some, it's kind of in need of some work and is proposing, you know, some small additions and kind of conversions on the existing house. One of which is on the southerly side of the plan. There is an existing deck that converting to a porch with a slight expansion, but it doesn't get any closer to the wetlands than we already are. We're inside, it's currently inside the 25-foot buffer in its current state. And the new work is matching that 22-foot setback in that location, and that will be a deck on sonotubes. The other part of the project is an existing porch that's there that is going to be converted into living space with a new foundation, small bump out, 2.8-foot jog in the back of it on the Plymouth Ave side. That's going to be put on a new foundation and made into living space. So that's generally the project. We're tight, we're all over the resource areas, just the nature of the property and everybody down there, but pre-existing structure, it's lawn there. And that's generally the project. I think there might be some other talking points that we can go over, but that's the basic project, and I'll answer any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So, I think the work you want to do to the house is not an issue. It's the parking area and riprap shoreline and fill that was done in the past 2 years without a permit. So we'd like you to amend your notice of intent to include that work. Johnson Terrace, according to the road layout, comes down to that bank. And so that parking area is within the town's property.
I can speak to that a little bit. You're close. Can you go back to the plan view, Mike, if you would, please? So actually, on the plan, it does. The town accepted, see that dash line where the word Johnson Terrace is? The town accepted the road to that point. Beyond that, it's still private. It is an accepted way on the other side. It, doesn't completely negate what we're talking about, but I just wanted to point out that that portion beyond that line is still a private way. But
Okay. Gotcha.
that's what I wanted to say about that. That's part of it. We would own to the center line of that private way, and but the town has accepted to that dash line. But I'll leave it at that, just so we can move on with the discussion.
Okay. Well, that makes sense then. Talk about the riprap that's been installed along the edge of the property along the shoreline.
Sure. I think Paul, the other homeowner, has been there for some time, can speak to some of that work that has taken place there.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been there since '04. And over time, my yard is just eroding into the ditch, rainwater ditch, whichever you want to call it. And over time, at least 3 times, Plymouth Mosquito Pest Control comes in there, and they cross over in that area we were just talking about. They cross over to the other side of the ditch, and they dredge the ditch to keep the water flowing in there. If it's dormant, then they obviously get mosquito larvae, so they dig it out. They dug it out several times. They stack all that stuff on the other side. So over time, that side's just gone up. My side stays where it is. It's compressing and it was eroding it. That's basically why I just stuck the wall there. No excavation, no nothing, just put the wall on the dirt existing. So that now I have some sort of chance to keep my yard from eroding into that ditch over the years.
Okay. So, yeah, technically that's adding fill into the floodplain and into the wetland.
And I wasn't aware of that.
There's no use in taking it out, but I think we'd like to see some sort of mitigation for it, like plantings along there, along the shoreline to help mitigate the effect of hardening and armoring that shoreline. Could you come up with like a planting plan for?
Yeah, I think that, I think that's a good, I agree with you that, it does a nice job of what it does, the riprap that's there. And to, kind of fortify that slope with get a biologist, maybe Brad or another, to do a planting plan along the bank to kind of revegetate that area along the bank, if that's the area that I think that's a good idea for mitigation for the work.
Yeah, yeah, because any work, any landscaping and yard work that you do, because you're in the wetland area and in the flood zone, you technically need to come to the Conservation Commission for that work. I mean, we can capture that on this notice of intent if we kind of amend it to include that work. But I kind of want to just get ideas from Craig as well on that.
Well, I think anybody want to chime in here? I agree with you. We definitely need to capture that on the permit and mitigate it. I have no problem with work on the building.
Yeah.
That's fine, but yeah, we do need some mitigation for that. Now, I'm a little unclear on the parameters of where the driveway is versus town and private. Does some of this driveway that you have improved, is it on town property?
I don't think that it is. I can speak to that. I think some of it is, so technically, in a private way, there's ownership. The fee owners on either side of the road have rights to the center of it. I know we've all heard that before. So there is some ownership rights to the center line of it. The abutters on the other side have the same rights. We don't have ownership on both sides of the road. It's not town property, but it's a private way, and it has the same rights that any other private way would have in town. So I understand part of that is where mosquito control goes down. I'm not saying that's what that's for, but that's where they do cross the ditch when they do muck it out, so they cross in that area. And but as far as rights, we did the plan for the town. I wasn't aware of this question until earlier today. I might have a copy of the plan, but we did the street acceptance for the town, and I know, and I happen to have that line on the plan because that's the way where the plan ends.
Okay.
And beyond, it wasn't accepted by the town. It's a private way, and has the same rights that any other private way would have, owners on both sides. So I don't think it's on the town property, but
Yeah, it's just, hard for me to,
yeah, on the plan view, you can see.
yeah.
See where it's shown on there, and I can kind of, right, so you can see where the word gravel drive is down south of the Johnson. That's that dirt area that we're looking at in the imagery. So if we have rights to the center,
Yeah,
you can see that.
okay.
Beyond
That
it.
helps me, yep.
Well, you can show it on the updated plan.
Yeah,
anyway.
certainly.
Yeah.
That was a talking point for sure, and I think that's a good way. Certainly amend the notice of intent to capture any of this work and mitigate for it at the same time with a revised NOI, for sure.
Yeah, any plantings you can put along the shoreline would be really helpful to mitigate for that.
And that will strengthen,
Yeah.
The
help
bank
to
itself,
strengthen the
and-
bank.
help limit any other, any additional erosion.
Yeah, shrubs and trees have great root systems that help to hold the soil in place.
Do you have any comments, Mike?
Yes, I will also note, I've pulled up on the screen two satellite images from a year apart. One was April of this year and one was April of last year. As you can see, that area where that driveway pullout was almost completely unimproved. It looks like the area was graded. All of this vegetation was removed and replaced with a handful of arborvitaes, and a fair amount of vegetation on this side was also cleared out. I do know that that is within the layout of a private way. However, it is within the 0 to 25 buffer zone as well. So really, any activity in that areas shouldn't be done, whether or not the ownership's on the town or the individual.
Can you go to your other picture again, Mike?
It's all completely level here. before you can see from the shadows that there was definitely some gradient, and it was kind of like a loose, sandy sloping area down to the drainage ditch.
Is this a ditch or is this a tributary?
It's classified as a tributary. It meets the criteria for riverfront. But it is, as Rick stated, the mosquito control comes in here and maintains it as a mosquito ditch to help with flooding and mosquito issues as well.
It was a dug ditch originally. It was something that was created to help drain off this area, but it's changed its nature, today. It meets the criteria for a river for sure.
Okay. So, what should we do about this gravel driveway?
We need to offer something for this.
Assuming most of it is on private property,
Mm-hmm.
I think, again, we need a pretty robust planting plan to mitigate for the riprap and the grading and, everything that took place there.
Yeah.
The arborvitae area, certainly beef that up. There was quite a bit of plant material in there, and it would be nice to see some more natives. Arborvitae are not particularly great specimens in an area like this. But I would say definitely a planting plan from a wetland. John Zimmer, Brad Holmes, one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think
Yeah.
we vegetate down towards the river or whatever we're calling it there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, that interface right there at the edge. Maybe if we're gonna plant that, a buffer along the riprap, just to carry it right across there,
Yeah,
revegetate some of that stuff.
and I would say right across the face of where the drive ends at the
Mhm.
water.
Right, that's,
the whole-
that's
yeah.
just what I meant, right across.
Right,
Yep.
so
I
that
think
none of
that-
that gets,
From talking with Paul about this after I spoke with Mike earlier today, there was some stone and stuff placed on top, but the underlying material is still there, so shouldn't be much to
okay.
get down and get something in the fill,
Yeah.
that created this whole area basically, but get something growing in that. Go ahead, Paul.
Whereabouts? Did you-
Just in front of the truck there in that photo.
Okay.
We want to carry, something, just so we don't have any runoff in there and something to hold that bank together a little bit.
Okay. What happens when
Space
they go
it.
right over it?
We'll space it, so if,
Yeah, what a time.
we'll keep that in mind. I know that, mosquito control, they're not in there, 3 times a year or something.
Right.
They do go in there. We leave them, they're gonna march across there anyway.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we'll try and leave, something reasonable.
Leave some, yeah,
Yeah.
So they're not gonna trash across there in anything that we plant, but
or
give them-
something they can,
they put mats down and they cross right over.
right,
And then they march on the opposite side of the bank and they walk down and muck it out and pile the material up on the other side. You can see the mound that's over there.
even if it was some form of grass.
Yeah.
That could,
Mhm.
be driven over or.
Sure.
Yeah, so that
Yep.
I'm not suggesting big trees there.
Right, yeah,
Just something to stabilize that soil. I'm thinking in a really intense rain event, that could
Mhm.
flush in or, so that would be my
I think
recommendation.
that's reasonable.
Yeah, and I guess since it's riverfront, you'd have to amend your description to include the alternatives analysis.
Okay.
That's part of,
Corey, I'm teasing. Sorry. Nothing. I saw you started to smile, so I did too.
I know, it's a lot, but, we'll get it right.
Yep.
Okay. All right, continue that then to the January 7th.
I have one question on that, Corey. The alternatives analysis focusing on the work structure.
Both, since they're both going to be included in the notice
Okay.
of intent.
Is January 7th good for you, or do you want some more time to get,
If it's not too much of a problem, if we could book the 7th, and I'll get in touch with the biologist, see if we can get all that stuff done, if we can keep it moving along. If I get into a situation where I can't, I'll notify the commission and we'll need to continue, but I'd like to push for January 7th if we could.
okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to continue this until January 7th. Can I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
for your input. Thank you.
Okay. Next up is 93 Old Colony Lane. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, December 17th, 2025, to consider the notice of intent filed by the Marshfield Municipal Airport Commission. The hearing officer is Commissioner Malafronte, but in his absence, I will act as hearing officer on this. All administrative requirements are met.
All administrative requirements have been met with the exception of the DEP number. The DEP number was not issued yet for this project.
Okay. But we'll go forward. And you are here to present?
Partially, yeah. Jason Tibbetts, Marshfield Airport. We're looking to raise and rebuild our snow removal equipment building. It's in a state of disrepair, but more importantly, it sits alongside a taxi lane, and it would have to be relocated further back from the center line of that taxi lane in order to meet FAA requirements if we ever to hope to repave that taxi lane.
Okay.
Our representative from ASGR engineering firm, Craig Schuster, is here. He has more details.
Is he on Zoom or?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I will jump in too. Hi, my name's Joe Rogers. I'm an environmental consultant with GCA, Geoenvironmental. Also on the phone here is my colleague Susanna and Craig, as mentioned, from ASG, who's the general aviation engineer. And also we have somebody from Merrill, who is representing the stormwater aspect of the project. And so Susanna can give an overview of the project and what we're trying to accomplish here and how why we are here before you tonight.
Okay, go ahead.
Thanks, Joe. Like Joe said, my name is Susanna. I'm with GZA. And as was mentioned before, the project includes the demolition of the existing aging snow removal building, which I'll call the SRE building, and constructing a replacement building in generally the same location, but shifted further from the existing taxi lane to meet FAA standards. The existing SRE building on the screen, that's 44 feet by 55 feet. And the paved areas connecting this building to the taxi lane are about 370 square feet. The limit of work is that dotted line surrounding the building. That's the project area, and it's within land subject to coastal storm flowage. And a portion of the project area is in the 100-foot buffer zone to BVW, which is located all the way to the east of the project, that furthest east green polygon. The green shading in between is a recently constructed stormwater management feature associated with a separate project. But the proposed work, if you scroll down to the next sheet, that will show you the proposed building. They are proposing to demolish the existing building and its foundation and adjacent pavement, and constructing this new SRE building, which would be sited further from the taxi lane to meet FAA regulations for the safety of those using the airport. The replacement building will be built on a new foundation, about 36 feet by 55 feet. And the new connecting pavement will be about 1,724 square feet in size. So the project will result in changes to the impervious area amounts within the project area. And we do have an impervious table, I think at the bottom of this sheet, which shows 934 square foot increase in impervious area within land subject to coastal storm flowage, which is also the total project area. And of that number, 308 square feet is also within the 75 to 100 foot buffer zone. So if you scroll to the next sheet, that's our grading plan. The project isn't expected to substantially alter the flood storage in the project area. The topography here is relatively level, and when construction is complete, the grading and overland drainage patterns are expected to be substantially the same as existing conditions. A silt sock will be installed down gradient of the work area prior to construction. And the proposed work is generally within the existing the footprint of the existing SRE building, previously paved areas and maintained turf lawn, and is not anticipated to negatively impact the BVW. And the project has been designed to comply with the bylaw as well. And I think we're happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you. I have a couple of questions. In the introductory letter, first page of your filing, you reference Section 404 of the Clean Water Act and the need for a permit from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Is that in fact necessary?
No, that reference was just the BVW that we identified that cast a buffer. That BVW would be regulated by the Army Corps, but the project itself does not propose any work within BVW, so we would not be seeking a permit from them.
Okay. If in the event that you did need a permit from them, no work could go forward under our conditions until such permit was obtained. So that's why I wanted to ask you about that. In the introduction has both the letter and the introduction have some kind of vague language. A similar sized building, a shifting slightly further, generally in the same location. We typically see much more detailed language than that. And it's just, I know that, you know, you have certain dimensions on the plan and such, but normally we would expect a little tighter language in something of this nature. I also want to note that you are considering our Marshfield stormwater management standards and, our 505-308.1, the recently constructed sediment forebays would not be considered regulated resource areas subject to protection under the bylaw because those areas were not regulated wetlands prior to construction of the stormwater system. And then further in your 4.2 Town of Marshfield bylaw, you do not reference 308.1. So I just want to be clear that 505-308.1, rain gardens and other stormwater retention systems. Rain gardens and other constructed stormwater retention and treatment systems shall be considered protected resource areas subject to protection under Chapter 505 upon completion and establishment of wetland vegetation or habitat unless it can be demonstrated that, but for the continued contribution of runoff through the stormwater system, the rain garden and associated vegetation and habitat would not exist. The pocket wetlands that were engineered in that green area intersect with the groundwater table. And especially the one that is number 3, which again is not on the plan here, has water year-round. So I contend that we definitely have jurisdiction under 505-308.1. With regard to the plans, we typically get a plan with an overlay of everything, existing and proposed. We have a lot of plans here, very difficult to piece together. We would like to see one plan with existing and proposed, with your erosion control, with the impervious table, and with the distance from this building to the fuel pad. We don't have that measurement noted on any plan. I would also note that it would seem to make sense, there is a concrete berm that currently surrounds the fuel pad, and when that building gets moved closer, I think it would make a lot of sense to just run that berm until it hits the building, to protect from, just keep that as a integrated unit. I also want to note that you consider the impervious cover to be, it is moving, I understand your building's going down to 2,000 square feet in size, and the pavement is going up to 1,724. That comes out for this project to be a 33% increase in impervious coverage, not a 0.0002, taking into account the entire airport. Now, I understand all of these changes, all of this is under FAA regulations, and you need to comply, and that's fine. And I have no objection to the project itself, moving and et cetera. But I would like to see a site plan that captures everything. I'd like to see the pocket wetlands that were engineered, erosion control, measurements proposed on top of existing, possibly the concrete berm, unless you think there is a good reason not to do that. And I think that is all I have.
Chair Harrington, if I may add
Sure.
something. The site plan should also be signed and stamped by a land surveyor. not like a landscape architect or a PE. The site plan should be stamped by a land surveyor.
Yeah, the plan that you're using is I think 2021. It's an older plan, and it is stamped by,
The plan's derived from a site plan that has been stamped by a registered engineer, and we provided that in one of the appendices.
but we require for a site plan, not an engineer.
Isn't it either or?
No,
It's not either or. It is misconstrued sometimes to be either or, but that is incorrect. If you look at the submittal checklist, any engineering drawings submitted need to be signed and sealed by a professional engineer. A site plan stamped and signed by a registered land surveyor, unless exempted by the commission, which is an option if you ask for an exemption, but you have provided us a site plan that is not stamped and signed by a land surveyor.
This one is, that we're looking at is not, the data from this is derived from a plan that is stamped by a registered surveyor. That's in the application package.
I think it's Appendix F.
Okay. But it's not either or. It's,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, any
Well, the
other?
plan that we,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, correct, yeah, so yeah, the plan you saw, that was the engineered plan that, we would do as a layout. All the backgrounds in that survey was done by a land surveyor, right, and stamped separately as plans, but I don't know if I can get a land surveyor to stamp my site plan that I just developed, as far as the layout of the building, the grading and all that, so that, I'm just a little not understanding quite how we would handle that, if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, this is where all the
This
data.
plan here was, this is our survey plan stamped by a registered land surveyor. That's our existing condition plans.
Okay, but do you understand my point? We are looking for a plan that has everything on it.
Right, but I don't understand, why would a registered land surveyor stamp that one too, and then I would have to my stamp, because they don't care about proposed stuff, they don't do that, they just survey in the land that they survey, that's what they're stamping. Right, so I'm just asking, I want to give you what you want, I'm just trying to understand it so I know what to do.
Well, what we are looking for is, do we have the wetland, we have the wetland delineations on there. We don't see any erosion control. You have a stormwater management plan, which I do not have any issues with. And as I say, you can request an exemption from a registered land surveyor plan. You chose to give us one, but that could be exempt. But I'm just trying to make the point that we don't have a plan that will go on file here with everything captured in one place.
Yeah, that's no problem. We can do
Okay.
that.
That's my main concern. We need to have,
Yeah,
we need to have that.
that's no problem. That can be
Okay. Mike?
I think a proper way forward, if the applicant was seeking a waiver for that stamped plan by a land surveyor, a letter explaining why the stamp is sufficient for this project, and going into the details, and maybe referencing these prior plans that your plan is based off of, Craig, could be a good route forward.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
Any other commissioner comments, questions?
Yeah, let's talk about the building. What is it gonna be made out of? What's the elevation of it, of the slab? Are you proposing any like flood vents or dry flood proofing?
No, this building is basically a cold storage building, right? To store the airport snow removal equipment, to get it out of the weather, right? Because, you know, you live near the ocean and it's not good for the equipment. The only thing this thing's gonna have in there is, you know, vehicles, snow plows, you know, electric coming in there just for lights and for the overhead door. There's no heat, there's no bathrooms, no offices. This is not like the public's gonna be in here. So there's no reason to protect this building from any flooding that may occur in the area, you know, if you have a lot of rainfall. So that's the purpose. And we're in the process of designing the building, right? So we just started that. I mean, I'm expecting to be a metal skin building, probably a prefab unit that we can get from a company. It's gonna sit on the concrete slab. There might be the backside there might be a little bit of a concrete wall because of the grade difference from the backside and one close to the fuel farm to the front of the building. It's about a foot drop because that's the way it is now. So that's kind of that's the sense of what we're going with the building.
So have you filed a floodplain permit?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you have the floodplain permit?
It has not been issued.
Yeah, they need everything we've just been talking about, all the plans.
Yeah.
The only outstanding comments at this point were related to questions about zoning and demolition permits.
Yeah, we need to follow up with them still, saying with those couple questions. Do that.
Do we want
I would like to also add, not to change the subject totally on this, but on that concrete fueling pad itself in front of the fuel farm, there's no berm on that. There is a berm, there is a berm around the fuel farm where the tanks are. So I want to make sure I understand what we're talking about extending the berm. Are we looking to put the berm around the fueling pad and have it go over to the building? Like that? Yep.
Well,
We were just tracing that?
There's already a small concrete berm around the fuel pad. Correct?
The fuel farm where the tanks are, but
Fuel
not
farm.
where there's another concrete pad next to it that does that loading and offloading. There is no concrete berm there now. The only thing you have is the positive event barrier, those grooves that are around it, you know, to help. That's part of the design.
I think you know what we're
It's-
talking
it's-
about.
Yeah, it's secondary containment around the fuel tanks.
Around the fuel
themselves.
tanks, yeah.
The pad next to them is for unloading, offloading fuel, essentially,
Right,
unloading fuel.
yeah, no, I'm looking at where the actual tanks are. I'm referencing that.
Oh.
That berm there, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, I just want to be clear. I wasn't
Yep.
sure.
yeah.
So I will, I'll talk to Bill, because I think Bill had that comment, and I didn't have a chance to really talk to him about that one, but I will talk to him to find, understand better what we want to do there.
Okay.
I guess I'm not clear how big is the building larger than what's there?
Smaller.
It's smaller.
Building's smaller.
Okay.
Small.
Yeah,
But it's moving about 32 feet from the taxiway away from it so that it meets the FAA standards. So that shift means a little bit more pavement. So there's an overall increase of the 700 plus square feet of impervious, but a decrease in the size of the building itself.
the building is going from 2,420 square feet to 2,000.
Okay.
And it's moving back, it has to move back to, you know, to be in compliance with FAA regulations, so.
Okay.
Any other commissioner comments? Mike, are you,
No, I think that satisfies my comments.
any comments from the audience? Anyone in the audience? Hearing none, I move to continue to have a new plan presented to us, which incorporates everything, which I think, yeah, you're also going to need for the floodplain permit. And so how much time do you think you would need?
Greg, do you have an input on that?
Yeah, I'm thinking, like, considering the holidays and everything, right? So, I mean, I think I can get my plan together pretty quickly. I just don't know about the floodplain and how quick we can get, you know, the town, whatever, the floodplain, that resolved. That would be the only issue. But I can get probably that plan done pretty quickly.
Okay, well,
Maybe a day or something.
here are our hearing dates going forward: January 7th, January 21st, February 4th,
Okay.
February 18th. But what would you like me to just plug in here?
Can we plug in tentatively for the 7th, and can I
Sure.
circle back with the team and stuff, and then reach back out to the agent, you know, if it changes? Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine. Okay, I move that we continue, and we don't have a DEP number yet. I move that we continue 93 Old Colony Lane, raise and rebuild the snow removal equipment building to January 7th. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you today for your time tonight.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you, you
Thank
too.
you all.
All right. Next is 13 Water Street. This is a continued hearing. We were waiting for fire department comments, and we received those, and the hearing officer is Commissioner Miles.
Okay.
So, before we get started on that, I wasn't sure if that was gonna, where we stood with that tonight. There was also a revised plan that I had to submit with some extra plantings, grass. We did get the fire department comments, as you said, but that plan has not been submitted yet.
Okay.
There was some issues we're working out with the homeowner. So we will be continuing that again, and I apologize for the last minute, but
That's okay.
Revisions have
I
not
didn't
been
expect
submitted.
that you would come in tonight, but then I saw that the fire department had given their, okay.
so we're still waiting on getting the revised plan in.
Okay. Yeah, the bollards are fine, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you want to move to continue
Oh,
to
sorry.
January 7th? No, that's okay.
I will make a motion to continue this 17 Water Street to January 7th. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, then we have 34 Roosevelt Road. This is also a continued hearing, and the hearing officer is Commissioner Lake.
Thanks, Greg. Mike, did we hear from Andrew on this?
We did not.
Okay.
I also reached out to town council and have not heard back either. But I
Okay.
will follow up after this meeting.
Okay. I know we discussed this project generally when
Yes.
we were here the last time.
Mhm.
And I think we decided that you were to go before the ZBA, and we would continue this hearing till you got a ZBA determination.
Correct.
And what's the status on that?
The status of that is I've met with the building inspector on this and went over it in depth, and the determination was made that it does not need zoning approval for either portion of this. The ADU is by right, and the proposed new structure is conforming. So, he stated he was gonna update that on the floodplain permit, which I think is where the initial comment came from. You weren't able to get in touch with him today, Mike, right?
No, I wasn't.
I don't know if he was in or not today, but I assure you that I was told, and then an email, which I don't have a copy of, but that we do not have to go through zoning for the project. So I did let Mike know kind of last minute today that I knew it was on the agenda. I'm here with the homeowner and the applicant here, just because the importance of the project to them. If we could come forward tonight, I was hoping that you can get in touch with Andrew, but I can assure you that I was very clear that we do not have to go to zoning on this. So,
And I asked Mike this afternoon to, since we had not heard from Andrew or town council, to reach out to the planning department for some guidance. And they seemed to agree that there was
Yes.
nothing in this that would need to be reviewed by
Later, after our
zoning?
discussion, Karen Horn came by and said perhaps at first there was some question of frontage depending on which street you measured off of, but if it was off of Plymouth Ave, there would be no issue there. So perhaps that was an original reason for the comments for ZBA, yeah.
So we don't have anything in definitive from anyone, but apparently, I did a little digging myself, and I have to admit, I went through accessory dwelling
Yeah.
units and all that, and it does seem that that may be the case. that
Yeah.
We do not have to go, the homeowner does not have to go to ZBA.
We've just never seen one that takes an existing house and converts that to ADU and then put a new house on the same property, so it's new.
I was surprised myself that that was an option. Yeah.
I understand the short notice. I know you guys, you know that I wouldn't sit up here in front of you and say that, you know, that I was told that. And we had some discussions about the wetlands concerns, you know. That I was hoping we could, you know, if you're open to discussing it more tonight, based on what I'm telling you about the zoning, and I'm sure that'll come out shortly. I didn't bring the email with me, but basically it was, I met Andrew in his office, we went over it in depth about what we were actually be seeking ZBA approval for, and we, you know, it was pretty clear that we didn't need it, but if, we can assume that's the case and talk about, you know, the project and in its relationship to the wetlands, if you're open to that, I would love to be able to do that.
Is there any work being proposed to the existing structure?
Internal work, you know, but not, I'm sorry, this is Bill Schultz, the homeowner
No,
here.
there's no work.
Okay.
So the existing structure meets all requirements.
They currently live in, your
Yeah.
mom is in there, I mean, so she's gonna stay in there. It's just the terminology of what it is changing, but it's not gonna be any type of, any approaching any substantial improvement or something requiring some elevation to the existing house. It's basically gonna, it's a single-family dwelling now, and it'll be a single-family dwelling in the future. That's her, and Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, it's what I'm saying about how you live there, but I think she's comfortable in that structure, and it made more sense to the family to build the new one. And I have been seeing this quite a bit where they do, I think we're gonna be seeing this time to time, but it made more sense for them to build a new single-family home on the back of the property. They have the room to do it, you know, land-wise, as far as zoning's concerned. Setbacks to build a, you know, a modest 36 by 28 structure in the back there. The homeowner here is gonna be moving in there with
2 children.
with his kids and stay close to mom and keep an eye on her in the house, which she'll remain where she is, and the new structure. And we did the best we could, you know, to conform with section C of that, you know, to have any new structures, you know, meet a 25-foot setback to the maximum extent possible. I mean, could we get another foot or two out of it? Possibly, with the sideline setback there. We're trying to leave a little bit of room for parking over there where that existing shed is on the line, but we're at 17, it could technically go down to the 15, but if we're talking about maximum extent possible, but we certainly adhere to the, you know, we're 32 feet off the wetlands. I know we had talked about another section of the paragraph that talks about, you know, no new structures closer to any existing building or structures. You know, looking at the regulation, and we've dealt with this one before with the commission, you know, this section to me is protecting the 25-foot buffer, is built lots that were developed prior to 2002. And the first statement is any new structures shall be required to meet a 25-foot setback to the maximum extent possible. Then it goes into landscaping, and the last sentence that we talked about at the meeting was in any event, no new structure shall be located closer to the adjacent resource than any existing building. And to me, and I know Mr. Finn's here, may be able to speak on that, but that is, I believe, when a structure is already at or within the 25-foot setback existing, that you can't get any closer than you already are if you're not in compliance with the 25. In this case, we have a structure that's at about almost 90, you know, about 90 feet away. That would be like saying you couldn't go to 89 when you're in a 25-foot buffer zone, protection area. So that's how we've interpreted it, and certainly on other projects, we've done that. Like just on that last project we discussed, it was up to 25, we matched it, we're in it. So that was our intent, and that's how we've interpreted that. The second part being, in any event, you know, if you're already in violation or you're already right at the 25, you can't get any closer than you already are, which is my interpretation of it. And it also says, you know, then any other shall not be located any closer to the resource area than any other existing building or structure. I mean, the definition of a structure is pretty expansive when you look at that. I didn't, you know, I know you're probably familiar with what your definition of a structure is. It's pretty much a lot of things, including a fence, including retaining walls, tanks, tunnels, a lot of things that I won't read through, but we do have a fence there that's in that area that classifies as a structure. We're not getting any closer to the resource area than that structure. I know, I'm not trying to, I know it's a little bit of a play on it, but it does say building or structure. So if there was a pad there or something else, we do adhere to that, and we're well in excess of the 25 and in an existing lawn area. So that's our hope, and you know, this family really has a strong desire to get this structure there on this property that they have, and it's really a perfect setup for them.
Do you have any comments, Mike?
Yes. So, looking at our bylaw here, about the structures, regarding the structures and their setbacks. I took a look at, just let me pull up the regulations here. Our 505 bylaws, 206.1, I believe it was D. 2C.
Yep.
I can just read that out into the record if you'd like. When land within the 100-foot buffer zone resource area encompasses lots developed prior to June 20th, 2002, and has buildings which are currently existing on such lots, any new structure shall be required to meet a 25-foot setback to the minimum extent possible. When undertaking activities such as landscaping, removal of vegetation, other activities, the 25-foot setback shall also be observed. In any event, no new structure shall be located closer to the adjacent resource areas than any existing building and structure. The setback requirement may be modified by the commission in accordance with section 103.4, section 103.5, and 106.18. And those sections referenced at the latter part of that excerpt are the exceptions, exemptions, and variances sections. In my I would also reference under the variances that there are two instances in which the commission may grant variances. The commission may grant a variance when it is necessary to avoid so restricting the use of the property as to constitute a regulatory taking, and also when there's clear and convincing evidence that any proposed work will not impact our resource areas, in which, if that was the route, then an alternatives analysis would also be needed.
If I could offer another comment on it. I mean, the work we are proposing, driven wood piles, not only is it required in there, but as we know, it's about as low of an impact type of project that we could do in an area of a wetland. We're not excavating. We do have some trench work to do for the utilities, for the sewer. We certainly have erosion control in place. It's an existing lawn. The impact of the piles is negligible. There's about 20 piles. They're about a square foot apiece. When we're done, we're not going to be changing the grade, cutting the grade, or raising the grade. Really don't anticipate any much, if any, change to the ground surface at all. We are planning on parking it, but certainly a low impact, and I can't see how it would have a negative impact on that EVW there by installing piles and as far as the work goes. And I do feel like we're meeting the regulation. We're meeting the 25-foot setback as required for a lot that was developed prior to June 20th of 2002.
Any comments from any of the other commissioners?
Do you intend to maintain the same edge of the lawn? Is there now?
I think so, Bill. I mean, we don't have any, we're certainly not planning on doing any clearing, but yeah, the edge of the lawn shown on the plan. I was very close to one spot there, Mr. O'Donnell. I mean, it is close. We're certainly not entering into removal into the 25, but generally, I mean, here's the edge of the lawn, Bill, you know your yard, here's the chain link. And then we get this edge of lawn, and are we planning on maintaining that where it is today?
Most likely, yes. Just depends on where the house is positioned.
It's very close to it, but I mean, you got about a foot or so from the existing edge of lawn, but we still have all this open area behind the house and on the other side. You wouldn't be going beyond the fence that's here.
Well, no, I mean, it's all wetlands over there, so.
Right, so that's gonna stay, and we can fence that. We have no issue with conservation markers along that area there, just to prevent any sprawl that might happen over time.
Did we discuss what's under the parking area? Is that stone or?
It's gonna be a pervious material, either natural gravel base or stone, but for parking, we're not proposing any pavers or any other hardened surface. It'll be natural, or it will be a natural pervious material underneath. There's some stone, as you can see, you know, between the street access, there's some stone proposed there on the left side of the house, just for parking, just so we're not always under the building. But we do have adequate parking on the site, and all of it is proposed as pervious.
We need a pile plan?
Pile plan would be useful.
There's one in the architectural set, and I know that the final structural is being worked up, right?
Well, I have a pile plan. The only thing that I don't have is the framing, the final framing, which is currently being finished.
Yeah, we don't.
We didn't have it.
We don't
Yeah,
care about
did
the
not submit
framing,
it.
but if you could put the pile plan on there
Sure, yeah.
and conservation markers on the 25. Maybe 3.
You say 3. At the 25, I think the 25 is kind of inside the edge a little bit. I don't know if you
Or
want
at the edge of lawn.
Yeah,
It's overgrown with
It's all
bamboo.
knotweed.
There's like bamboo
Yeah.
and.
well, if you can just put them on the edge of the lawn,
And the fence, it's there.
yeah.
We can put markers behind the
Put
fence.
them on the
I think.
fence, if the fence, yeah.
Take that out too.
The fence is staying.
It is, I think we could set markers behind, I think markers would last better if we, you know, the markers on the
Gives you
fence.
a little space up to the house. I mean, you need room to be able to put a ladder up.
Yeah, we could walk around a little bit.
The fence can go. It's, you know, I have a dog. Essentially, it was for the dog. So
You don't have to, we don't mind the fence if you want to keep it.
yeah, I mean, most likely, I would like to keep it.
Right, this portion, obviously, the part that goes underneath the structure is gonna go, but you keep that section and put some posts outside the fence and maybe a few feet off the edge of the lawn on that side, like you say, to get around the house, maintain the house, windows, siding, whatever we need. We gotta build this thing too. We're gonna have people there, of course. We can put them on the 25 or something to make sense between the edge of the lawn and the 25.
Yeah, wherever
Okay.
it makes sense.
So do you think we're interpreting this correctly?
Well, here's what I'm thinking. The reason we continued this in the first place was based on Andrew Stewart's comments to us. And he was quite emphatic. There has been no application submitted to the ZBA for these required and obtainable permits. It has a floodplain permit, but he says this project requires a special permit from the ZBA. He asks that the commission continue this hearing until, at the very least, the ZBA has a special permit application submitted to them from the applicant. And then the applicant can request to go forward with the NOI as is required under Massachusetts general laws. So that was what caused us to continue in place. Now we're being told, although we don't have anything official in hand, that, oh, you don't need a ZBA hearing. So I'm looking at this strictly from a conservation perspective and the interpretation of our regulations. And I think, leaving all the ZBA aside, this meets our regs. And if somebody thinks it doesn't, please say so, because this is so new to, this is an unusual situation, and I think we're all a little
For us.
a little gun shy to, get out over our skis here if somebody's gonna come back and say, oh, you really got this wrong. What do you think, Bert?
I think it's consistent the way we've interpreted it in the past.
In the past.
I can't think of any, well, ADUs and no, but houses, but
Right.
certainly plenty of garages.
Right, if somebody came to us and said, hey, I want to put a a small, barn back there.
So particularly to Rick's point, that this is elevated, it's on piles.
Mhm.
I think the conservation markers, that's gonna limit expansion. Because only trouble with the ADUs is it leaves you with very little yard, but
Yeah.
it's the way it is.
I would just, if we're going to condition this tonight, I would just want it to be on record that we do not have definitive answer on the ZBA situation. However, from a conservation perspective, this seems to be okay.
And it would still be subject to obtaining all the other.
Exactly.
Yes.
Permits.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Chair, I just wanted to ask you about the piles. I know we want the pile plan. Did you want to see them on the plan?
Yes.
Okay, so it's something you want to see going forward on any of these
Yeah,
piles?
if there's gonna be piles involved, I think it's beneficial to everyone to have them on the plan from the
Sure.
get-go.
Yep.
I would agree with that.
We can certainly do that. We can revise the plan, show the markers, piles, and we're still very clear on where I just come busting in there tonight saying, we don't need it. That we need something official, confirming that, and we'll obviously make sure that happens. And hopefully that stands. I mean, that's what we were told.
Is there anyone in the public or in the audience that has any comments?
Hi, my name is Carly Tobias. I work for Rockwood Design. I am William's architect, and I just wanted to chime in and mention that, William, you do have your pile plan and your framing plan. I'm actually looking right at it. I did speak to Andrew about the ZBA application for this lot, and we do not need to go to ZBA after further conversations on it. I think this plan was well designed for an ADU. I mean, ADUs are for affordable living. I know this is the main dwelling. We did our best in designing it on piles, making it compliant with everybody's, biggest conversation is runoff water. And I think Stenbeck and Taylor did a wonderful job. And also having this up on piles really helps with that too, on such a small lot. So I know that was one of the big questions was, you want the pile plan, you could have that in your hands by tomorrow with the framing. And then Stenbeck and Taylor can work on getting that on their plan themselves too. So you can see where they're sitting on the lot. But I just wanted to kind of chime in, and if you had any questions for us design-wise, they're not easy to design. These boards aren't easy either, and I feel for everyone that has to go through the zoning boards, the site plan review boards, planning, X, Y, and Z. So Andrew did mention to me that we might have to go to ZBA, and we kind of worked it out that wouldn't, we actually don't need to go to it. It's such a new entity for everybody. There's so many gray areas, so everybody's just trying to cover their ground as we are here on this plan. But I just wanted to kind of say hello and let you two know, William, that you do have your pile plan, so we can get that in hands to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carly.
So I think, based on, our jurisdiction, I know we've had conversations about working together with the other departments, and I think based on where we stand tonight, that we could move forward with making a decision. Do you
Agreed.
agree? Okay. Mike, did you have any special conditions?
Yes, I would suggest the following special conditions. General conditions 1 through 18, which are standard special conditions. Prior to construction, condition 5 and 2, to have the site staked out and have a pre-construction meeting. During construction, condition 11, ensure best management practices are followed. After construction, condition 1, to file for a certificate of compliance. Erosion control, condition 1, to ensure erosion control is in place and effective throughout duration of work. To provide an elevation certificate at the conclusion of work for the final built structure. Those 3 conservation markers on the edge of lawn should be added to the site plan, and also the pile location should be added to the site plan. If we could get those in by Friday, that would be preferable.
All right, so I will make a motion to close the hearing and issue an order of conditions subject to the conditions mentioned by Mr. Seeley. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank
for
you.
working with us on this one. I really appreciate it.
Good luck, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Okay. We have 2 continued hearings to vote on. I guess we need to open both of these, right, Mike?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay. 180 Sawyer's Lane. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025, at 6:30, to consider the notice of intent filed for 24 Old Beach Road. We have been requested to continue this by the applicant, so I move to continue this to, do you know how much time they want, Mike? Is it just?
Just until the next meeting. date.
Okay, I move to continue this to January 7th. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And next up is 180 Sawyer's Lane. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection. Public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025, at 6:30, to consider the notice of intent filed for 180 Sawyer's Lane. At the request of the applicant, I move to continue this to January 7th. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that completes our hearings. We have one business item on 84 Rockport Street. And are you here to speak to this?
Yes, I am. Hi.
Would you just identify yourself for the
My
record?
name's Richard Bertone, and I'm the owner's agent for this project, and it's my son, so I helped him build the house and after he bought it. And so there were a few issues that we had, and I was speaking with Mike about how to make resolution. The brick patio went too close to the wetlands. It was just happenstance and an oversight, and after it was down, it was like, oh my, you know. And then Stenbeck has been helping us, and they've been great. And so Rick has been my point of contact, and we were trying to come up with ways. We were going to do the plantings and, you know, do whatever the mitigation as required when I was talking to Rick about it. But then I went and spoke to Mike, and when we first bought the house for my son back, this is a who's who of what not to do in the wetlands and how to do anything near the coastal property. And back in 1912, the lots were also given away if you bought the Patriot Ledger subscription and campgrounds. So there's so much pre-existing non-conforming here, as you can see, there's property that's over the line that now the town owns, that used to be people's land, but they just abandoned it and never came back. So after speaking with Mike, I said, it hit me, because there was raw sewage coming out, it was cesspool next to the shed in the back, and I removed that on my own. I just couldn't even stand it myself, and I'm like, we put in a $30,000 four-bedroom septic system we'll never use in that house, my son won't, but it was the right thing to do. So we just wanted to do what was right. And when I saw Mike, I said, well, why don't I take the back of that shed off that's way in the wetlands, and he highlights it red there for you. And then I even proposed some on the garage, but Mike wasn't more interested in that. He thought if I took the concrete off that you're looking at there, and that's about 100 square feet there, and the brick patio total is plus or minus that under 200 square feet. So he goes, that would be a good compromise to see if the board would accept that. And so that's why we're here now, to see if you would.
I thought we already had a discussion about the brick patio.
We did. It was with Rick around
Some time ago?
some time ago. We discussed doing plantings around this small buffer area between the brick patio and the wetland as mitigation. Mr. Bertone wanted to take a look at the property and see if there were any other routes forward. Identified this area of impervious pavement here that could be removed, as well as this addition off of a shed which is entirely in a wetland. I will also note that during my site visit I looked extensively at this area, the buffer between the brick patio and the wetland here. I did not notice any signs of erosion or channelization or anything from that hardscape into the wetland.
My only comment back to you guys would be that when I spoke to Rick about the plants and the mitigation, he gave me a distance of, equal distance around it. It comes up to like 14 plants that I would put down. And I just thought this was a little bit better bite on the land and how to make, reformations better immediately than putting the plants. Plus, it's a 2-year period, and I'd have to, keep having the guys and you all, and I just wanted to kind of index as fast as I could and just make this go away, so it's not the job that won't go away, and that's kind of where it's at right now.
So that whole shed in the back is not even on your property technically.
I'll give me a nexus just on the one edge that you could see, but other than
Yeah.
that, you are correct, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. And the patio is presumably pervious?
It's jointed with bluestone,
So that,
which compacted bluestone is not the most pervious, but it's not,
But it's not like a
cement or
concrete pad.
Yeah.
No, and my error there is that when I went to school, pervious was considered if you use bluestone, so that's
Yeah, I
that's a
agree
lick
with
on
you.
me. I'll admit it.
I only learned that when I came on this
You know,
commission.
and it could have easily been, granule masonry sand or some of the, Mike was telling me, the textile product.
Yeah.
I just chose bluestone because that's what I knew, and I'm aging myself, but in my era, so.
I can
So,
relate.
That's why I'm here now. I'm like, ouch. So I just thought that was a better bite, was the two structures. I'd removed the concrete, and there's a few other things that I was speaking to Mike about, but he thought we'd throw this out at you first.
So this is actually a surveyed plan, the
Yeah.
location of the buildings and everything? is-
Oh, yes, sir. I have Stenbeck on all the drawings. You guys have them on file, and it's not by mistake. They're just, but I think, the house was built in 1949, and I don't even know if there was anything being surveyed, and they were 100-foot by 20-foot lots for, I think, $100 they were selling back then by the old railroad, and I said it's a who's who and what not to do, and
Yeah.
So that,
there's that shed.
excuse me. That-
No,
that-
go ahead.
That other land, Mike, is that owned by the town, or is that owner unknown?
Let me check that information quickly.
Or do you know?
I know that that little shed is on the wetlands,
Well,
and
it's
that's
wetlands.
conservation. The garage is owned by the town. That's a slab of land that is owned by, it was someone's property and it was abandoned, and I think you own it. It went back to you by default in 1950-something or whatever, 60s. If, I could be wrong, you know, but I thought when looking at the property lines and the delineations, that's what I kind of remember.
Yeah, I remember when this first came before us, and it's really peculiar.
Yeah, that is.
And then,
I thought it was owner-run.
and then even the road behind it's been overcome by the water, and now that whole road it's a paper road and it's gone, and it's in the wetlands now as well.
Commissioner O'Donnell's correct. That is owner unknown land.
I almost think we need to ask Bob Galvin.
Probably not a bad idea, just
No.
to be,
Yeah.
We can't really authorize somebody to work on property that's not theirs.
that's not there. Yeah, I think, I mean, obviously, whatever you did to remove even a piece of that shed would be a betterment, but because it's technically not owned by you, I think we need to run it past town council.
So there is, I ask, a nexus for the ownership of the land because there's a portion of the property on the inside of the property line that would constitute it as being in my son's lot, and that it has been maintained on that property for over 70 years by the people that lived there previous. So is there some type of statute of limitations, or is there some type of, hey, I've paid taxes on this for so many years that now you're telling me I don't own it, then why did you tax me on it? So I'm just trying to throw a dart.
Yeah,
here.
no, that's why I want to talk to somebody with some legal expertise, because I can't answer those questions.
Okay.
I think the compromise you reached with Mike is a good one, but I think we just need to be very clear that it is acceptable legally.
Okay, so if I could get approval, that would be nice. I'll leave that.
Hi.
Rick?
If I could offer, I was just, with that shed, you know, is there something without, you know, you're up, the patio, I mean, the concrete you're proposing to remove seems reasonable. Is there something, we could just avoid that shed, so we don't have to town council and all that stuff? Is there something else you'd be willing to?
Well, I did propose to Mike that I could go to the garage, which is on our property, and then there's a portion that is over the line, and I could offer that as a wash. And I don't know if that's
Same
same thing.
Yeah.
How much out of bounds did the patio go?
So this is the proposed patio location. It was just on the other side of the 25. And then this was where it was actually built.
And the only reason it went there, and there was never a real discussion, that's where the snafu happened. There's a back door that leads out onto the patio, so I was wondering why.
Right. I think they were trying to keep it out of, they were, you know, keep it out of the 25, why it's there, you know, but as
So,
Richard said, there's a door there, so we put it there.
And I never read the 25-foot buffer was the green line. And, I mean, I studied architecture in college, and I felt like a fool because I was a little dismayed in my own ability not to read a leader pointing to it. But you can't see it, so I didn't realize that's what it was.
and
You guys see it.
you say the concrete area is about 100 square feet?
It's about 100, yes, ma'am. It's like 16 by 6.
So what if we took out the concrete and did some planting there?
And with conjunction with the planting.
And forget about the shed out there.
Forget the shed.
Okay, yeah. Is there a I don't know, a diminished square footage or amount of plantings that I would need before we talked about, depending on the size of the patio? And if I took the concrete out, does it diminish the planting? So
Yeah, I
it
think
goes from
so.
14 down to some other number, or?
That's.
Yeah, I don't know, you know.
I thought some high bush, that's what we were talking about all along in there.
High bush
Would be
blueberries.
nice in that area, there's plenty of them there. And something we don't have to babysit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, and I don't wanna put words in Richard's mouth either. I understand, you know, but
What,
you don't wanna mess around with that shed.
Fine with me.
you're okay with taking the concrete out and putting some blueberries in?
Yeah.
Liz?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually coming back to me as we talk. You know, I'm remembering it a little more, and it's certainly better than it was. So I agree with everybody else.
If you would accept,
It's up to you.
forget the shed, leave it alone.
You know what my dilemma was with that? So I was trying to get closure to this. So with the plants, if I remember correctly, is it still a 2-year period? Check it 1 year. Oh, yep, they're looking good. We'll come back another year and we'll check it. Oh, okay, they're gone. They got to put them back now. And so then it's, again, I'm just saying, it
Yeah,
seems
I
like the
don't
job that
think we
won't
need
go away,
to
you know?
go
I'm trying
so
to
far
close it.
as to require you to get a wetland scientist to do a planting plan. In my opinion, if you remove the concrete pad and put in 10 high bush blueberries, and we can flag it here, and in a year, you can go look and see if they're alive.
Yeah.
I think if you, they're pretty tough. I think if you put them in, they're gonna have a pretty low failure rate.
Yeah. That sounds modestly fair. It does. I concur. So 10 bushes, remove the concrete, and Mike comes back in a year.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Do the bushes have to be in the concrete area, or can they be anywhere? I mean,
I would
Rick,
say
you
Should
tell
be
me.
not in
Or-
the, that's right up next to the house there.
Yeah, I was gonna spread them out along that wetland, the blue line, and have equal distance and
Yeah,
make sure
I
that
think that
they're
would be,
where they offer a buffer.
I think that would be nice,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to move that 85 Rockport Street, the owner will remove the concrete slab on the south, is that the south?
Yes.
West.
West corner of the building, which is approximately 100 square feet, and plant 10 high bush blueberries along the wetland line, going, south down the wetland line. To be reviewed in 1 year by Conservation Administrator. And in the event of failure of 20%, we would ask for some replacements.
Yes. We'll make sure there is no failure.
They should take just fine there. It's
okay.
moist and it's,
Yeah.
yeah,
I believe they do well there too.
yeah. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Thank you.
All right, guys, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Good luck.
Thank you. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks.
Okay. All right, requests for certificates of compliance. SC 42-1690, 24
Very good.
Constellation Road.
We have no movement on that one at
No
this time.
movement, okay. I move to continue to January 7th. A second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town of Marshfield, 440 Ocean Street, Brant Rock Region 2 seawall. The DPW would like to extend this permit to allow for ongoing seawall maintenance and repair work covered under the permit. What kind of an extension are they looking for?
A 3-year extension.
3-year extension? Okay. I move to extend this permit, it's SE 422859, for 3 years. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. SE 422894, 44 Jaina Way. Also requesting an extension. Work has not yet been completed. Have they done anything yet, or?
It didn't seem like they had. They'd done some minor work to a side porch, it looked like, but the vast majority of this work had not been commenced at this point.
Okay, and they also are going for 3 years?
Yes.
I move that we extend SE 422894 for 3 years. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the Harbor Master at 100 Central Street, Green Harbor Maintenance and Improvement Dredging. The Harbor Master would like to extend this permit for Green Harbor dredging. Regular dredging is necessary in Green Harbor as the position of the jetties creates shoaling. I move to extend SE 423034 for 3 years. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And lastly, SE 423103.
No
Two-
movement.
278 Foster Ave, still no movement. I move to continue to January 7th. A second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That concludes our business. I move to close the Conservation Commission meeting of December 17th, 2025. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are
Thank you.
adjourned.